what I'm about to say, I'm going to just give you a trigger warning because I'm going to talk about bullying, being molested, etc., etc. So if you're sensitive to that, please just don't watch the video. The internet is full of videos of particularly young girls talking about their first sexual relationships, experiences, and the violence, and sometimes or most times the force that came with it, and the lack of consent. And there are different layers to that. And yesterday I saw a video that the woman works like in any type of authorities, like I think police or something like that. And she was explaining how it's not enough to teach your children about stranger danger because most children cannot comprehend what a stranger is. Because we are painting a picture of that unknown, right? Of someone that is weird, that is kind of like evil, that has like a dark energy to it. When in reality, pedophiles and, predators, they are not that. In reality, they are not that. Point one, first of all, your children are more likely to be molested, violated by someone they know, they have come in contact with. That can be the bus driver, teacher, the technician in school. It can be the doctor. It can be the neighbor. It can be their fucking uncle, cousin, stepbrother. In some cases, many cases, even the dad, the stepdad. So the danger of violation towards young girls is in most cases not a stranger. So teaching our children about stranger danger does not give the effect that you might think it gives. And then sometimes when I say that, people are like, oh, how do you teach your children? Simple. It's actually simple. And the fact that it is so far-fetched for many people shows how much education we lack when it comes to this particular topic. And one of the key words to that is consent. And I'm talking about unconditional consent from all angles at all times, entire bodily autonomy right from the get-go. That means asking your child at tender age, can I touch you? Can I remove your clothes? Can I brush your teeth? Can I remove your diapers? And every time I say this, every single time I say this, one fool comes out and be like, oh, are you going to ask a 2-year of consent? They don't understand. First of all, the fact that you cannot comprehend a message and bring it across in the language we both speak shows a lot of comprehension skills that you don't have. And that might be a far-fetched, but I'm pretty certain a 2-year-old has a lot more comprehension skills than you in that particular moment. Just saying. Right from the get-go, when my children created an awareness of self, I will talk to them about consent. I don't kiss my children anyhow, not even a fucking goodnight kiss. I don't hug my children anyhow, even though sometimes I feel like just squishing them because they are cute and I love them so much, right? I ask for consent at all times. I don't care where it is. I don't care how much time it takes. And I am consistent with that. And nobody will ever, ever, ever debate me on that. Which means in the kindergarten, in the fucking bus, in school, at the doctor's checkup, you do not touch my kids without consent. And I would tell you that there and then. Which means when I take my children to the dentist every 6 months for their annual checkup, my kids will lie down and the doctor will ask them to open their mouths. I will ask my children, are you okay with the doctor touching you? Simple. You're not going to debate that with me because I'm taking my kid out of your place and you will never see me ever again, okay? It's simple. It is one simple question. And the chance for a child to actually say no are very, very small. I don't know why, because many times people are like, oh, what are you going to say if your child says no? I don't fucking know. How about respect that? Or what if your child has shot in their pampers and you ask them, can I change your diapers? And the child will say no. So be it. Do you think my child is going to die if I change that diapers 5 minutes later? What do you think will happen? Do you really think a child is going to have that diaper full of shit for the rest of the day because consent over personal hygiene, or what the fuck? The fact that this is so hard to comprehend for many people is very, very alarming. I gave birth to these kids. I carried these children in my body. And if I will respect their boundaries and their choices and their bodily autonomy, so will everybody else. And you will do that. If I am present, it's either you will respect it or we are going to have a problem. That's that. And my kids know that. They are now 6 and 8, the youngest. So they know if they're outside, I don't speak over them. If somebody addresses my children, I wait for their reaction. If they don't know what to say, they will look for me. They will look for me and be like, it is just, I just need to look at them. It's just 1 second of eye contact, and I know if I should carry that conversation or if I don't. It's very simple. That is consent. That is bodily autonomy. There are very, very small steps that create a bigger picture. Because no matter how you want to turn it and twist it, the more confident your child is, the less likely your child is going to hide things like this. I know that because I used to hide things. I know that because I was abused and I did not talk. I know that because I experienced these things, I saw these things, I had no one to turn to. So I know exactly what happens and the way you can have access to a child to abuse that child, and that child will stay silent. Because the boundary or the bond between the child and the parent is non-existent, and that's the worst thing you can do to your child. And it is not about being ruthless or not having any rules or your children growing up to be brats. You people are just not understanding the concept of looking at your children like actual fucking human beings with their own mind, their own opinions, their own decisions, and their own heads. Their own heads. You think that your children are little versions of yourselves, and that is why they should act and talk and behave like you, when that's in reality nowhere near the truth. Another point is honesty. I cannot stress this enough. 1, speak to your children about things that happen in the world in a childlike manner and digestible for children, but speak to your kids about what happens in the world. Speak to your sons about the way men are predators, and speak to your children, your girls, about the way girls are being violated. Speak to them about the way things are happening, the signs, the touches, everything that comes with it. Speak to your kids as openly and honestly as you can. And no, and I'm sorry to say that, your trauma has no place and no space in those situations. It doesn't. Because you cannot sit down here and tell me, oh, I'm traumatized and this is triggering for me. I don't care. I'm sorry. But if you don't do it because you're letting your trauma hold you back, you're subjecting your children to danger. I don't make the rules. It is what it is. And lastly, show up for your children. I don't care how minor it is. I don't care how irrelevant you think it is. I don't care if it's the 17th time in 2 months that your child is telling you about another child that is bullying them in school. Show up for your children. I don't care what it takes. You have only one chance to make it right. And anytime your child comes to you with sorrow, you negate it, you trivialize it, or you brush it off, that child is withdrawing a bit more. But every time you come up, your child comes up to you and you show up for that child, every single time that child is going to encounter a problem, it's going to be like, I need to tell my mom, she's going to know what to do. I don't care if my kids come to me 7 times out of 5 work days. I don't care how many times these kids come to me. I don't care how many times they call the same names. I'm going to give you chances. I'm going to report to the teachers. If I don't see change within a maximum of 2 weeks, I'm coming to school. I don't care how many times I need to do that. I don't care how many times, how many children are involved. I don't care what anybody says. I'm coming and I will eat those kids alive, because ain't nobody alive that can bully my children. No. And do you know what that resulted in? First of all, my kids have an ego. An ego. If you tell these kids you're beautiful, they will be like, I know. Tell me something new. Especially my daughter at 6 years, you tell her, Malia, you're such a queen. And I know I'm an African. I can do anything. I don't make that shit up. It is what it is. So they know if they have a problem, they come to me, and best believe I will solve it. There's not a problem in this world that I will not solve. Even if I cannot entirely solve the problem, I'm going to give them the feeling that I can. That results in them always coming to me. Sometimes that's fucking draining, because if I tell you these kids come to me with every bit of information, and at the end of the day, I am overstimulated. Not going to lie, I'm glad when they're sleeping at the end of the day, because my head is about to explode. It is what it is. But that's my job. That's my job, and it's going to pay off when they are grown. And the last thing that I can think of right now, teach your sons how to treat women, but on the other hand, also teach your daughters on what to expect from men, and tell them to never expect anything less. That's that.